Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now we start with the minority in Parliament because they have warned that Ghana may suffer severe diplomatic problem with other countries if we continue to accept deportees from the United States of America. Our decision to accept 14 Nigerian and Gambian citizens have led to severe backlash, with 11 of these dragging the state to the court over human rights violation. The minority have been speaking on this subject as they condemn the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa for sidestepping Parliament in signing the Deportation MOU and breaching the country's non-alliance agreement when he condemned Israel for the attack on Palestine. James Aveji has more in this report.
Ghana's decision to receive some 14 West African national deportees from the United States of America have generated public debate in the last few days. The justification from the Foreign Affairs Minister Okudzeto-Ablakwa has been that government acted on the advice of the Attorney General, as they believe an agreement between the two countries does not need parliamentary ratification before they execute.
Our decision is grounded purely on humanitarian principle and Pan-African solidarity, to offer temporary refuge where needed, to prevent further human suffering, and to maintain our credibility as a responsible regional actor. Ghana's decision must be understood as an act of Pan-African empathy. It is not transactional. Like Rwanda, Eswatini, Uganda, South Sudan, who are welcoming fellow Africans, we are standing up for our brothers and sisters in distress. And this should not be misconstrued as an endorsement of the immigration policies of the Trump administration.
By speaking to the media in Parliament, the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Abujinapo, said the move by government does not only violate the 1992 Constitution, but also a Supreme Court ruling that demands that all agreements between Ghana and other countries must be ratified by Parliament.
We are also shocked by the Honourable Minister's claim that the Honourable Attorney General advised Cabinet that this agreement does not require parliamentary approval. The Attorney General of the Republic was the Deputy Attorney General when the decision in the Bamford case was delivered by the Supreme Court. He cannot therefore feign ignorance about this case and purport to give a legal opinion which therefore contradicts the decision of the Supreme Court, if indeed he did. The opinion of the United States Attorney General, if it was indeed given, is of no consequence in our country, as both the constitutional provision and the Supreme Court decision are very clear. Indeed, the Supreme Court held in the Bamford case that the distinction in the United States between executive agreements, which does not require the approval of Congress, and treaties, which require such approval, are not applicable in Ghana in the light of the clear constitutional provision in Article 75. The government's conduct in operationalizing the agreement with the United States without parliamentary ratification is a direct constitutional violation of Article 75 and an affront to the authority of the Supreme Court. It is therefore deeply concerning that the government continues to operationalize the agreement with the United States despite these flagrant constitutional breaches. Such conduct reflects a lack of respect for the rule of law, which is one of the fundamental pillars of our constitutional democracy. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, beyond this blatant constitutional breach, the agreement raises pressing concerns of sovereignty, security, and policy. While regional integration remains a core value of our foreign policy, it cannot be stretched to justify the forced deportation of foreign nationals deported from other countries. The ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement concerns voluntary travel, not forced deportations orchestrated by a non-ECOWAS state. On the international stage, the foreign policy consequences of this agreement are equally alarming. Ghana has over the years built a proud reputation for principled diplomacy rooted in non-alignment, regional solidarity, and respect for human rights. The decision to serve as a receiving point for West African deportees against their wishes with emphasis from the United States risks our country being perceived as aligning itself with the United States government's current immigration enforcement regime, one which has been criticized as harsh and discriminatory. To associate Ghana with such policies could have several negative implications for our country, particularly within the African continent.
The minority is demanding that all such agreements be halted immediately until they are brought to Parliament for ratification.
We therefore reiterate our call on the government to suspend with immediate effect the unconstitutional implementation of this agreement until Parliament has duly exercised its constitutional mandate to scrutinize same and ratify it or otherwise. We further urge government to provide full clarity on the processes, safeguards, and other broader implications associated with receiving these deportees, including the measures, if any, that have been taken to protect Ghana's security interests, Ghana's foreign policy, and the Gaza conflict.
Another major issue has been government statement condemning Israel's attack on Palestine and Gaza. The minority said this is against international agreements that forbid countries from taking position in matters like this. They are warning that this could bring serious international implications on Ghana.
By describing the events in Gaza in absolute terms and aligning the country explicitly with one side in a highly polarized conflict, the government risks compromising the delicate balance that has long safeguarded Ghana's credibility as an impartial actor on the international stage. Our tradition has been to call for peace, dialogue, and adherence to international law without issuing declarations that may prejudice our ability to play a mediating or bridge-building role. Successive governments have, over decades, interpreted and applied these principles by maintaining a posture of independence and impartiality in international conflicts. It is therefore crucial, ladies and gentlemen of the press, that in responding to this conflict, Ghana's official statements continue along this tradition, speaking clearly to the need for peace, the protection of civilians, and adherence to international law, by doing so in a manner that avoids the perception of taking sides in a very deeply divisive conflict. The Minority Caucus wishes to emphasize that Ghana's enduring strength in international relations has always come from its ability to maintain independence, neutrality, and credibility, even when global powers have sought to draw us into their competing blocs. Departures from this tradition, if not checked, could diminish our moral authority on the international stage and compromise our wider national interests. We therefore call on the government to exercise caution and be consistent in articulating Ghana's foreign policy positions, particularly on sensitive international conflicts such as the Gaza conflict. The government must ensure that Ghana's position reflects our long-standing commitment to non-alignment, multilateralism, and principled diplomacy rather than hasty or unilateral declarations. Calm, measured, and nuanced diplomacy is essential for the conduct of our foreign policy in general and for addressing volatile situations such as the current conflict in particular.
It is now left to government to take a decision as to whether or not they will bring this agreement with the U.S. to Parliament for some ratification and a response to the position of the minority on the implication of our position in the Israel-Palestinian war. From Parliament here in Accra, I am James Savage for JoyNews.
Well, let's explore this further here on The Pulse. Joining me on Zoom is Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Committee on Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Asafo J. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Also joining me is International Relations Expert, Dr. Ishmael Lovo. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. I'll start with you, Asafo J, just to get a background as the concerns that the minority is raising. We've been hearing from the Foreign Affairs Minister, Kokode-Nwamase, signal that this is not an agreement, not a bilateral agreement, but an MOU. You still feel that argument is flawed?
So let me first and foremost thank you and thank your cherished viewers and listeners. So Why are we concerned? We are concerned because we must protect sovereignty of this country. And also, we must ensure that there is a precedent that will not allow any other government, now or in future, to come under the guise of whether it is a memorandum, whether it is a love letter, or whether it is a correspondent, to put international obligations on our country that will have future consequences or binding on the citizens of Ghana. The point is clear, and like we said, there are precedents that this government can look out to. And we made reference to those precedents in our press statements, which is clear. The court was clear. The court was clear, and the court said that it doesn't matter the form, it doesn't matter the shape or how it is couched. Agreement, the corresponding between the two countries, Ghana and another country or another countries, would put some obligation in the good people of Ghana, then Article 75 comes into play. This is all. So the court was clear. So this matter of whether it's a memorandum, whether it is an MOU, whether it's a note verbal and not, even the court was clear to say that even a note verbal, the court was clear. So our point and position here is that we do not even have an understanding of what is it that the minister is calling an MOU. We do not even know what is the content of the MOU. The content of the MOU places an obligation on us or not. We don't even have the details of whatever agreement there is between Ghana and the United States. And that is why we are worried. You are the fourth state of the realm government. Yet you don't even know. All you know is that there is a certain agreement between the U.S. to accept deportees that are failing to go to their country.
So you want the details to be made public? Is that the case?
No, I am telling you that. The framers of the Constitution, and in their understanding and wisdom, recommended some of these things to go to Parliament because Parliament is the representation of the people. So when you present it to Parliament, it is like you are presented to the whole nation. Everything there, Parliament is the representation of the people. So the point is that when this document comes to Parliament, now the good people of Ghana will not appreciate the content. We will tell you, Parliament will even say that, okay, looking at this agreement, we don't think it has any obligation on the good people of Ghana. So therefore, let's take this route or let's take this route. This is why we are saying that, first and foremost, we do not even believe that the Attorney General, who was the then deputy during these cases, would give such advice, because he made an argument, and the argument was flawed, or the argument was supported by the fact that it doesn't matter whether it is an MOU, whether it is a note verbal, or whatsoever it is.
So your point is clear, really. It should come to Parliament. But what happens should this administration fail to bring it to Parliament for ratification? As we know, 40 more are on their way to Ghana.
You see, that is where the danger lies. We of the minority even believe that this government should be the last government to have us go through this banter or this conversation. Because it was during their time that the first case was set. That's the difficult issue. It was during that time that this precedent was set. So taking a lesson from that, they should not come to government again and repeat the same thing that during their time happened and they went to court and lost the case. Number two, this government is overwhelming majority. So should it even come to Parliament? So minority is not pushing that we suspend government or we disturb government. No, we just want the right thing to be done. When things come to Parliament, they have the numbers to pull through. So they do not need even the minority to do this. But the point and why minority is on this matter is that there must be a precedent so that future governments will not hide under any nomenclature or under any terms and pouch to put Ghana into an international obligation. We will not go to Parliament.
Will you go to court?
Well, the minority will take that decision. As we speak now, I'm aware. I've heard a few people made attempts to court, instruct their lawyers to go to court on this matter. Minority will take a decision. We've taken the first step. We are waiting for the response from government and the minister, and then we will know the next action to take. Thank
you so much for your time here on The Pulse. Now, let me finalize with Ishmael Hovo. I would have to take you now to a live news conference happening. Africa is stepping up into a defining moment in its digital journey, and I'll tell you all about it. But let me wrap up briefly with Ishmael Hovo, since you already joined the conversation. Would this have any implications for Ghana's global outlook, should we decide not to receive these individuals any longer?
I don't think it has any implication for your global outlook. Rather, if we continue receiving them without parliamentary approval, without open scrutiny by Parliament, that is worrying, because given the history of this nature of transactions, it's just appropriate that they present it before Parliament. And given a country that's running a participatory democracy, it's just fair for the representatives of Ghana to know what is in this agreement, so that at the end of the day, with the numbers the government has got in Parliament, this should not be a challenge at all.
And then moving forward, really, we're hearing from the minority that this is not the way to go, especially when we have implications to the country and we're sidestepping Parliament. How do you propose this administration tackle this moving forward?
Yes, so you see, if the MOU had not imposed an obligation on Ghana, in the sense that you are going to receive people who are being deported, if the MOU had not imposed a financial obligation on Ghana, then you could say that it's no big deal. But in this state, in this current state, it imposes a financial obligation, imposes some obligations on Ghana. So the right thing for the government to do is to present the agreement before Parliament, so that there's a proper ratification of or discussion and ratification of the agreement, and then that gives it a more legal ground to stand on. Because the way we are acting, I'm afraid that it may even unsettle our other West African brothers, because under what condition is Nigeria refusing to receive its own citizens? What is their argument? That the people who their own citizens are not ready to accept them, but we are accepting them. Perhaps what we should be doing is to act together with other West African countries to have a common approach. So if somebody is not accepting, somebody is accepting, it presents a divided African front. What Africa needs is a united front to be able to withstand the might of the USA. So the way we are acting may well be undermining the unity of Africa in terms of how to respond to Trump and his immigration policies.
Thank you so much, Doc, for your time here on The Pulse. Unfortunately, we have to leave it here. I'm taking on live to that redefining moment I told you about, because currently, as we speak, innovators and policymakers, they've converged at the first Pan-African AI Summit. Let's take you there live.
Models are using a Gemini platform, and they have limited access to data. And after they are done running their inferences, a class there, they don't get access to the data they came to run their inferences on. That's how it ends. So that's how we save our data, and we try to keep everything private to us.
All right, Fusion here. You did say that your device has 90% accuracy. And for things that are in the medical field, you're looking at a 99% confidence level. So I'm sure you probably have to look at how do you move that from 90 to 99, at least, you know. But I'd want to ask, how are you getting your devices certified? How are you going to work with organizations like FDA, Ghana Standards Authority, getting an ISO certification? These are things that you can use to, these are agencies that would help you try to standardize your solution, so that at least we know that the results that we are getting are accurate. How are you going to do that?
So first of all, we are working on a study where we are trying to publish a journal on our device, and also we are trying to seek ethical clearance, as we said, in our attraction. So right now, where we are at a stage where we come up with a prototype. We had some feedback with some people, and also we are publishing a study on it so that it's accepted to use in hospitals.
Yeah, so what she was saying, so to even get a device approved in Ghana, you actually have to have research on it, especially in healthcare, and also you have to have a number of testing which actually shows that what you are saying matches your device capabilities. And that's the process we are going through to be able to get that thing down.
All right. Very insightful presentation. Now, imagine a scenario where a market woman has just been frying over charcoal. Her breath is full of smoke and spice. What I'm trying to probe here is, what are your wait times for such a person? Yeah. What are your red test rules? And if possible, your false positive mitigations. Do you have any? In terms of, I was looking at your team, your list of team members, and I didn't see any AI expert or AI person in there. And you are feeding your data through an AI model. So how are you ensuring that the decision the AI model is giving out is correct or not? Do you have a human in the loop who verifies the information that comes out? Right. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much for the question. So to make sure that results given are actually correct, so we do have a rack system. That's a rack system which actually validates the results which comes out. And if it's wrong, you then get to pair and see that, oh, this result you've got to match it up with other 5 patients who use our platform. And we don't even end it there. We still give you access to doctors online to go on with the process to have it finally validated that you do have this disease and you need to start these processes. Yes, please.
And also, you said something about not having AI people on the team. We do have AI researchers on the team that are helping us currently.
I'm one of them, and we couldn't put everyone there.
Yeah, that's very good.
So I wanted to answer the question about pepper and charcoal. Okay. So we are using 8 different sensors, MQ sensors, which are prone to detecting different volatile organic compounds found in people's breath. And we are looking at the range at which these someone's breath can easily lead to such a disease. So it won't necessarily affect that range because we are just looking at the organs and the risk. Someone might have more of it or less of it. And
thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, there's growing anger and frustration over President John Dramani Mahama's reluctance to declare a state of emergency on all polluted river bodies amidst increasing destruction and acute water shortage. A recent data from the Environmental Protection Agency and Pure Earth has indicated the earth, water and food crops, including tomatoes, coconut, mangoes, kontomire, and others have all been poisoned with mercury, lead, and cyanide in 6 regions, with Konongo-Zongo, Kokode-Nwamase, and the western region being the worst hit areas. But more worrying, really, is fresh data from the Ghana Water Company Limited in the central region, which has shown a record 94,800 turbidity levels in the River Yenso that feeds the Kwayanko treatment plant, which officials say cannot be treated. Listen.
Around back then, we record color 450, 400, and the turbidity was around 33. That is something on average. Yes, on average. You can see we even get 25 for turbidity, 31, 32.
Which was fine.
Which was fine. That one, the system was working well with it. You can see. This is on the 6th of September. The 6th of September, yeah. So the turbidity, they recorded 94,800.
And the normal should be around what?
You can see, like 50. Yes, like 50. So even if it has gone so bad, like 500, it's even too much for the system. But now, 94,800. Then the color, 105,000. Okay, color of about 100, maybe maximum 500, is now 105,000. 5,000. Okay, so you can see it was written that no flock formation, therefore no supernatant for analysis.
What does it mean?
After the dosages the person added, after performing the test, it didn't coagulate. It didn't coagulate. The water was so bad, so it couldn't coagulate. So after even leaving it to settle, it didn't settle. So they couldn't get even the supernatant to even record.
Speaking on PM Express on Tuesday, member of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, Seyin bemoaned the reluctance of the president to declare a state of emergency despite the loss of 8 compatriots to the menace, as he called out government officials who were loud on the matter while in opposition to speak up now.
I see the president, and I know him a bit. He's a good, nice man. Whatever is holding him, I don't know. John Mama is a good, fine man. His brain is on point. His children are sweet people. I can't understand that he would think of other people's children to drink this water. I don't think the First Lady, in her sanity, would ever sit down and approve of any of this when one of the people she loves the most has died. Why should the Minister of Lands be raving and ranting as if he's the only one on the street? Where are the people who said 1 week? Sam George, my brother, Igbo Yo. Okujato, where are you? We have to call you out. My own brother, Robson Paul, you cannot change your mouth. Please, it's not about your party. It is about Ghana. There should be something we should stand for. Somebody should die for something. Omani, my brother, he died for something, but his own people cannot even make what he died for even count. They are thinking that they've raised 3-something million or 6-something million using government donations and all that blah 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 to use that to mask and say I'm taking care of your family. That's the small thinking that you people have. Nothing, small thinking. You think you give people money and that is it. It's not just for what he wants. He wants you to transform this country. That's why Omani would have been a fine president. Please, we should stand for something. If you're an NDC man and this is happening, talk to your people, stand out. You should have honor. You can't be an MP with reasonability, with mandate, with allegiance to the Constitution of Ghana. And you see this and keep quiet and come and have the audacity to come and maybe discuss the fact that the president never used the word state of emergency. Nonsense. Do you have a heart? Do you have a heart? Do you have a conscience?
The University Teachers Association has consistently threatened to shut down the universities if government does not act. Well, the national president, Professor Mamudu Akudugu, says that a critical decision will be made next week after the expiration of a 90-day ultimatum to the president.
Most likely, we are having our Congress just next week, and that will mark the end of the 3 months that we give. And so our biennial national Congress will be next week, and definitely Congress will take a decision as to what will be the next action. And we believe that definitely something concrete, they will take a concrete decision as to the next steps if nothing happens by the time that we go for Congress.
Yeah.
And we are hopeful that I've just seen a statement somewhere that the Ghana Medical Association has also raised some issues.
Yeah.
We are hopeful that other associations will join this time and will not retreat when we reach that critical moment of pulling the trigger.
We went to Agbogbloshie market to get the reaction of traders and buyers to that EPA Pure Air data that revealed that poison has been found in food crops due to Galamsey. My colleague Noella Karinyale has more.
Accra's largest food hub, many traders and shoppers are either unaware of the report or simply don't believe it. Brighter woman, a tomato seller, hadn't heard about it.
Say what's the report? I be minty. So because I'm my tea, I'm minty. What's the anka then anka be? Oh, anyone is a better touch or Na sa chemicals na omo dey no na omo ntwa so. Na omo fanye bi.
Others, like Ya Ekuma, had heard of the findings, but dismissed them as impossible.
Oh, Yati. Yati intosi dia, oya na wasa bia ya wa enyeyi. Intosi bia ya intosi dia otu gold wa intosi na enyeyi.
Enyeyi say.
Ebe wukura. Ebe kunu ya ni nyina. Enti bia ye dua intosi dia, emme bia etu gold.
Enti me fifi.
Asokra.
For Ma Fosti, who sells kontomire or cocoyam leaves, the claim is hard to believe. She insists the leafy vegetable could never grow on poisoned land.
Matibete nenye no kresa.
Ade nenye no kre.
Die metimi aka wo mu ni se. Wei enu akasa na ensuogu so a etimi fifi. Ni tam so se wote ana wate. Efri tete amani fi ye minyi ekwa manya be 55. Enya no kre se asase chemicals wo mu no kontomre ntumi fifi wo ho. Okay. Abeduru ntumi fifi wo because asi ewura ni nyina e wo ho. Nti ebi ma.
Some shoppers like Beatrice Larby say even if the food is contaminated, washing with salt is enough to remove the danger.
Me pacho me dia nsesame. E say me toyi. Me kwa me de nchinsu bede. Warm water na me de nchinsu agu. Enchi agu na ma wohoro ho ansa na me de aye.
Well, let's explore this further now. Here on the pause, join me now is Awula Sewa. She's co-coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens. We appreciate your time here on the pause. And this is a conversation we've been having. And at this point, for most people, the frustration is now mounting. We're just hearing from the Ghana Water Company that turbidity levels in the central region has reached all-time record high. For you, this is of concern. How do we deal with this moving forward?
We need the political will to deal with this problem. We have been saying over and over and over again that we're on the verge of an ecological catastrophe. I'm not quite sure what else we are waiting for. We've been told about the levels of mercury with kontomire. We know our vegetables are contaminated. We've been seeing for a long time that once they're contaminated, it will enter the food. So this is of no surprise whatsoever. So what we need is to find the political will to fix this catastrophe. We need to declare a state of emergency and stop the cancer from growing. If we don't act, the window of opportunity will close. And it's very sad that some traders think that all you need to do is to wash the vegetables with salt. No, that will not cut it. We are being poisoned, and this situation will continue until the government tries to take swift, robust to deal with.
We've been hearing from government tell us that declaring a state of emergency would be their last resort. At least we've heard from the Lands Minister in an interview with GTV declare that moving forward, they're looking at instituting measures to ensure that areas like our forest reserves will be declared national security zones. Are you pleased with that move at least?
You see, I don't know what is the matter with us. Before, when we were in opposition, we knew the problem. Nothing has changed. We were then, including the Lands Minister, asking the past government to declare a state of emergency. They were all asking for a declaration of a state of emergency. What has changed? We are in September. What are we waiting for to act swiftly? We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Why haven't we done it so far? What was important to us? The e-levy, the betting tax, setting up gold board. We have done it. And this is a catastrophe. Why are we not acting swiftly? As we speak, our water bodies are still polluted. Our waters are being diverted. The Ancobra, others. What on earth are we waiting for? The number of kidney disease has gone 4 times. And it's as if we are dilly-dallying. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Before we came into office, we could have had a series of measures we're going to take and then hit the ground running. What was the urgency of e-levy as compared to being poisoned, as compared to our health needs? I really don't know what to say. All I'm saying is that we're in September. It's almost a year gone, and virtually nothing serious has been done to confront this problem which we knew existed before we took office.
And moving forward, really, apart from just advocating for change, should we consider the legal route to compel government to declare a state of emergency?
Well, we have to use options available to compel the government to take swift, robust action. Because I keep on sounding like a false record. The window of opportunity to deal with this cancer is closing. It's closing. How many people are not consuming contaminated food full of mercury? The number of kidney disease problems rises. Do we even have enough dialysis machines to deal with it? Money we are getting from the gold, does it equal the amount of money that we'll be spending on our health, the people who are dying, the deformed babies? It doesn't cut it. Very soon, nobody will want any food from Ghana. We'll not be able to export our cocoa. So it's only the few individuals who would have gotten rich from the illegal mining. The rest of Ghana will suffer. The 30-something odd million Ghanaians are all being poisoned. So I think that any legal means available will be used to ensure that the government declares a targeted state of emergency and begins to deal decisively with this problem. It is a shame that we are in September and we are still saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's a shame.
And will you be taking that legal step? Will ECHO's...
We're just saying things when we're in the position.
Would you be taking that step to start that legal battle?
Well, whatever steps need to be taken will be taken. I've listened to UTAG. They are also going to take steps. We will support whatever action is being taken. And I am confident that if everybody, Catholic Bishops' Conference has already called for a state of emergency, if everybody adds their voice, His Excellency the President will have no option but to call for a state of emergency. And I heard somebody talk about the 8 persons who died. We are very sorry about their death. But just remember, there's only not 8 people alone who have died. Let's remember all the children. We don't even know their names, who have fallen into open pits and died as a consequence of illegal mining. Their lives matter. So that we are encouraging all Ghanaians to say enough is enough, to be angry enough at being poisoned, to add their voices, and I'm confident that His Excellency the President will not want to go down in history as the President who supervised the poisoning of Ghanaians, as the President who failed to act when he could have acted to stop Ghanaians from being poisoned. I am certain that the President will call a state of emergency because the press is not going to stop, civil society is not going to stop. We're going to continue the pressure and take all necessary steps to ensure that the poisoning stops. It has to stop.
Thank you
so much. Our children will not forgive us for poisoning the lands that they are going to be left with, for supervising the decimation of our forest reserves. History will not forgive us.
Thank you so much, Awola Sewa, for your time here on The Pulse. Well, still on the issue of illegal mining, let's shift attention now to the national concern, Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. They are pushing back on mounting calls for government to declare a state of emergency on all forms of mining activities. During the launch of its task force in Kumasi, the association described such demands as, quote, a lazy man's approach, unquote, to dealing with illegal mining menace. They caution that it would only create fear, disrupt livelihoods, and undermine ongoing interventions in mining sector. Nanabwachi Yadum has more in the following report.
National Small Scale Miners Association has unveiled a task force with the aim of complementing the government's existing anti-Galamsey interventions. President of the association, Michael Kokode-Nwamase, says the task force is to complement existing government efforts in tackling illegal mining.
The task force are members of our association, and they are, we have mandated them to go on the various water bodies to make sure that any person who is found on the water bodies mining with impunity will be cleared from these various places. More so, when the media is talking about illegal mining, they box small-scale miners and illegal miners.
Michael Kokode-Nwamase says the task force will work closely with state institutions to monitor mining activities, sensitize communities, and promote responsible small-scale mining practices.
We are in the communities and we know where these people are. And in so doing, the task force will work with the media so that people would understand the need to make sure that the people who are on the various water bodies are being cleared off. Because when the pressure comes, people always box small-scale miners and illegal miners. And that is what we want to let the country and guests to know, that small-scale miners are Ghanaians who have acquired their license and they are mining in the frame of the law. So anybody who is being seen mining with impunity and destroying our various water bodies, this task force is mandated to make sure these people are cleared off.
Meanwhile, the debate on the declaration of a state of emergency on Galamsey operations has intensified in recent weeks as CSOs sound the alarm at the destruction of forests, rivers and farmlands. The small-scale miners group, however, emphasized that a state of emergency could lead to heightened security crackdowns without addressing the root causes of illegal mining, such as unemployment and weak enforcement of mining regulation.
Away from that, the Ghana Police Service has arrested a notorious gang behind a string of violent robberies, including attacks on about 10 rural banks across 5 regions of the country. The IGP Christian Teteyonu, who addressed the media earlier today alongside with top officers of the Police Management Board, described the operation as a big strike against criminals who have terrorized financial institutions and communities, saying it is a major breakthrough. He revealed that 3 of the gang members were shot dead during the exchange of gunfire, whilst a manhunt is underway for the others who escaped.
Immediately got to work. After painstaking investigations, working with credible informants, analyzing available data, surveillance across several regions, we launched a targeted operation to arrest these criminal elements. This operation took us to the Ahafo, the Western, the Central, Eastern, and Ashanti region, in towns such as Esreso, Edija, Ejiso, Achiankrum, Atonso, Chirapatre, Ahua, Zongo, Aputoja, Abotem, please forgive me my language, Kasebost, Eswofua, Atosu Monaco, Pechi, Obuase, and Boaho near Kronom. These are the hideouts of these criminals. I'm delighted to announce that we have successfully dismantled the gang behind all these robberies. So far, we have successfully arrested arrested 10 suspects. 3 other suspects were shot dead in the course of the operation during a shootout with the police. We have launched a manhunt for the remaining suspects who are on the run. We will not stop until we get them arrested. We were also able to recover 14 weapons, including AK-47 rifles, pump-action guns, a single-barrel gun, pistols, ammunition, vehicles, mobile phones, among others.
IGP further announced promotions for some policemen who helped in tracking down the suspects.
Of the public who volunteered credible information to the police that contributed to this breakthrough. I want to take this opportunity to call all members of the public to support the police with information for successful investigation. Let us all be vigilant members of the community and report any suspicious persons or activities to the police. As you may be aware, the service is committed to rewarding credible information shared to support our investigation. In conclusion, I would like to assure you that the police will continue to make life uncomfortable for criminal elements in our society. We will continue to pursue you till you are brought to justice. On this note, I want to inform you that the Police Management Board have decided to promote 3 chief inspectors to the Police Academy. Three inspectors to chief inspector. 2 sergeants to inspector. 1 corporal to sergeant. 3 constables. They are lucky, very fresh. They are giving lance corporal. To the senior officers, the Police Council will take a decision on them. Thank you very much.
The Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, COP Lydia Yako-Donko, disclosed that some of the weapons retrieved from the suspects actually belonged to police personnel who had their weapons snatched. In one incident, she tells us, a police officer was killed and his service weapon snatched by the gang.
Exhibits so far recovered by the police from the suspects include the following: 3 AK-47 assault rifles, 1 single-barrel gun with 1 AAA ammunition, 7 pump-action guns, and 96 rounds of AAA ammunition, 3 Bruni pistols with 40 rounds of ammunition, 1 M&P pistol with 4 rounds of ammunition, cash the sum of 18,845 Ghana cedis, $104 US, 190 Liberian dollars, 5,800 naira, 31,000 sefa, and a quantity of assorted Ghana coins. 6 vehicles, 4 motorbikes, assorted mobile phones, and jewelries. Ladies and gentlemen, it is worth noting that one of the AK-47 rifles marked GHGP/ASH/TEPA/TP/B1523 retrieved from this gang was a police service weapon issued to number 48034 G Corporal Francis Eduyao, then at Tepa Police District Headquarters, who was sadly attacked by armed robbers and killed on the Bibiani-Goso Highway on 29 November 2024 while he was returning from an official duty. This is an indication that this same gang committed that heinous crime. The other 2 AK-47 rifles, also service weapons, were snatched from officers who were on duty at Ecobank Ahafo-Kenyase when they were attacked by a gang of armed robbers on 8 September 2025. Between November 2024 and September 2025, the police administration responded to a series of bank robberies across the country. A critical analysis of these robberies revealed a similar modus operandi employed by the robbers. Their modus was that the gang armed with pump-action guns attack a bank, hold the security guards hostage, snatch their weapons, and then use industrial cutting machines to break into the vaults of the banks.
Well, let's explore this further here on the Pulse. Let me bring in Dr. Victor Doke. He is a security analyst, just to give us updates on how we should tackle this moving forward. We've just been hearing from the police service tell us the modus operandi of some of these individuals. They were targeting rural banks. Should we consider moving forward rigorous training for police personnel who will be posted to rural areas?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think it is essential that in every, when you're talking about the security space itself, I know frequently they give capacity building, retraining for the personnel. So ideally, the personnel should be going through rigorous capacity building from time to time. Now the issue here is with the fact that criminal elements have now gained, some level of smartness with regards to what monitoring police officers to the extent of knowing their movement and then their standard operation procedures to what attack them, take their service rifles, perpetrate acts of what crime. So, in essence, we need to retrain. One aspect of retraining is how to ensure that our personnel have what situational awareness, to be aware of your situation. So I think this is an area where they need to focus. Those who are, into the training, the facilitators, the training school should look at how they can equip more with regards to intelligence and then your situational awareness afterwards as a personnel who is mandated to ensure peace and then enforce security.
And how do we beef up security, especially in rural areas and rural banks?
Well, rural areas are such that the aspects of personnel there are not like in the urban centers. So one, what we can do to assist the personnel in the rural areas is either increase their numbers, two, enforce some level of partnership with the community members. Okay? Now, you can go through the chiefs, the elders in the community, to have some young, able men who are going to act as community watchdogs, helping with regards to security. And this is tied to the community policing that we have been preaching all about. We need to look at that aspect of community policing and invest more in it. So then, with the security there, the police there, these young men will be on the lookout, monitoring, providing what information, and some can also be recruited as well, informants, okay, which the intelligence networks do. So with these young able guys in the community, they are friends to people. They will definitely hear something, offer intelligence for the police to act on. So these are some, these two main things: increase the personnel in these areas, and then involve the community members themselves.
And isn't it concerning, really, that these civilians were able to overpower the police service, seize their rifle, and kept on using it for months?
Exactly. And that tells us how our security system, the personnel themselves, can be at risk. Anyone can be at risk. So that's why I say we need to, heighten our situational awareness as a person, as a people, as security networks. So for an armed person or criminal element to attack a state official, to take his rifle and use for months, it also comes or begs the question, how do we track our weapons? We need to look at tracking mechanisms of the weapons. So if a weapon is missing today, it has the marking, the numbers. How then can we trace it and then act as soon as possible to retrieve that weapon so it won't be used to commit crime?
Thank you so much, Doc, for your time here on The Pulse. You're still watching The Pulse. When we return, we'll tell you about the Made in Space conference. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, Accra is set to make history as it prepares to host the Made in Ghana Space Conference from October 6 to 8 at the University of Ghana, ISA, with a theme harnessing space technology for sustainable development and inclusive growth in Ghana and beyond. The conference aims to position Ghana at the heart of Africa's rapidly growing $22.6 billion space economy. Well, let's explore this further. Joining me in the studio for more on this is Dr. Joseph Bremantando. He's director for the Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Also joining me via Zoom is Kweku Suman. He is managing director of Space Hubs Africa. We appreciate your time. I'll start with you, Doc, in the studio. Why should I attend this conference?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me for the opportunity. So, space science technology is essential if, as a country, we want to achieve our sustainable goals. It's the most efficient way, and it has been tested and proven. So, when I was at the waiting room, I think I had the turbidity issues that is going on. And Do you know we can measure this stability using satellite remotely? Not necessarily for you to go to the ground to take ground measurements. You can do this using satellite technology. Also, when it comes to illegal mining, monitoring our forest, how much of the forest we are losing, time series, you can do all this with satellite technology. So, and in Ghana, we've done a lot when it comes to space science, but it's just that the momentum is now down. You remember in 2017, the Ghana Sat-1, Ghana launched its first satellites with the All Nations University. In that same year, the president inaugurated Ghana's first radio telescope, and it's the largest radio telescope in the sub-region, which currently is a designated center for training in terms of STEM education and astrophysics learning. And in 2022, Ghana has a national space policy that has been approved by Cabinet. And just about 3 months ago, Cabinet also approved the establishment of the Space Agency. So all these are foundations that we've laid. But the thing is, we need to create the awareness. So we need to bring all relevant stakeholders together because space cuts across all ministries, from defense to food security to lands and natural resource monitoring. So it cuts across. So the main reason we are doing this conference is, one, to create the awareness from the upstream to the downstream. Then two, also the space economy is booming. Worldwide, space economy now sits at almost $613 billion US. In Africa alone, we are looking at 22 billion. How do we take parts, or how do we take our share? We need to develop the downstreams so that we can also play a part in terms of, we don't need to just be users, we need to be players. So at the conference, there will be experts from international body space agencies, also in Africa, and also experts in Ghana also to share their successes, what they've done with space science technology. And we also have a section for youth, also where the youth also will be introduced to how they can start their own startups. Because when we look at the 22 billion, most of it is going to the downstream, developing tools that the ministries will use to monitor, developing efficient tools for crop monitoring in terms of crop health. So this is what we want to tell the world, that as a country, we are serious. We don't want to just be users. Because technology has been with us. Even when I was coming here, I used Google Maps. And Google Maps heavily depends on satellite technology. When you do any ordering in terms of food, in terms of, it uses satellite technologies.
So how can Ghana leverage this wonderful, vast space you're telling us about in our daily activities and yet still be a big player?
Okay, so we have the space policy that has been launched. So doing the conference is a part of implementing the policy. We need to create the awareness. Not so many people know we have a policy. We have a policy that has an implementation plan. It has a short, medium, and long term, and is under Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology to implement this policy. So by implementing this policy, that is where we need to get the stakeholders involved, because when you look at space in other countries, it's the private sector that drives the space. Governments will give the guidance, will give the policy, will give the regulations, but it's the private sector that drives it. So at this conference, we are creating the need, because the private sector is the one that creates the jobs. So if, let's say, Ministry of Forestry, the Lands and Natural Resource needs to constantly monitor our resources. Because now, believe you me, there are satellites with high resolutions at 30 centimeters. So they can view 30 images at pixel of 30 centimeters from almost 10,000 kilometers, 20,000 kilometers above. So we can create a business out of it and the industry out of it to create jobs for the people. Because we're already using the technology, but we can't depend on them. If today, those who host these satellites say, okay, I'm putting it off, how do we do our transactions? How do we do our banking activities? How do we do our communication? So we need to be not just
player.
Yes, be core players. That's where we can get a bit of the 22 billion that is at stake.
Let me bring in Kweku, who is joining us via Zoom. How can I be a part of this conference if I'm a young person watching?
Very much, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The best way to be involved is just to simply go to our website, so ghanaspaceconference.org. Similarly, you can follow the conference on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Just have to search Ghana Space Conference. For students, especially if you apply with a motivation letter, you have the opportunity to attend the conference for free with a conference grant. So we really invite all Ghanaians to get involved, whether young or old, learn more about the conference and spread the excitement to help us build a national movement behind Ghana's space ambitions.
And how much will it cost me to be a part of it?
Yes, so as I mentioned, for students, the cost is free with a motivation letter. For adult Ghanaians, the cost is 825 Ghana cedis.
I see. And let's look at how beneficial it would be for the country if we get on board and attend this space conference. Why exactly should I be interested as a young person?
Yeah, so when we talk about space, a lot of the time we think space is something that's very far away and not very relevant to our daily lives. In reality, however, space technology already shapes much of our daily lives. Satellite data is used by news presenters to report on weather information. That same data on weather helps over 14 million Ghanaian farmers to decide when to plant, and also coastal communities to be wary of storms when they're going out to fish. So space-based solutions are really something that's embedded in our economy and our well-being. And so we need to be more actively involved and educate the general citizenship that this is something that is relevant to our daily lives, and to motivate the new space workforce, which can help us build solutions that are locally built and tailored to the problems that Ghana faces.
But in real time, really, how much is Ghana losing by not participating in this whole space structure? Do you know in real time?
So it's always very hard to quantify the specific amounts in like a numeric value. However, what you have to understand is, for example, Africa and Ghana really survive off our resources. And space technology helps us to better manage these resources and be more efficient with them. So if we're talking about issues with Galamsey, for example, or if we talk about our cocoa farms, these are all things that we can better manage if we had more data to help make decisions. So we can think about space as more data that helps us get a better picture of what the problem is and how we can develop a plan to solve, mitigate, or improve our management of these resources.
And let me come into the studio as we wrap up the conversation and speak to Doc. Just looking at this as a young person, I'm quite interested. But then we're wondering, apart from this conference, what other avenues are available to sensitize the youth about the space technology and how we can be a part of it?
Okay, thank you. So the Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, as it was established in 2011, currently we have 3 centers, and we do remote sensing, radio astronomy, and also satellite communication and engineering. Our doors are open. Students come in and out for internships. We also do constant training programs. Even this December, we'll be having training programs in terms of STEM education and astronomy. And also, we also do training in terms of remote sensing, how you can convert that satellite image into real solutions. So GSSTI, our doors are open. If you want to come for internship, or if there's anything that you want to learn in terms of space science and promoting your own business, starting your own tools in terms of space development, you can come to Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute.
Oh, thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. We appreciate your time, Doc, and we're looking forward to be a part of it, just to sensitize us. I'll just take final words from Kweku, who is joining us via Zoom within just 30 seconds. Why exactly should we be part of this?
To add on to what Dr. Tanda's already said, is that this conference should really be seen as more than an event. It's really a launch pad for Ghana's future in space. If we all come together and learn together and work together, we can really show the world what we can achieve in the space industry. It's really a moment of national pride, because Ghana is ready to lead and shine as one of the beacons of Africa's innovation. So for me, to every Ghanaian and young Ghanaian watching, the future of space is really yours to shape. Come to our conference, join the conversation, and be the spark that helps Ghana move forward in the space arena. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kweku, for your time. And thank you so much, Doc, for joining us in the studio. You're still watching The Pulse. After this quick turn, we'll be back with more. Please stay tuned in. Now, Tama Secondary School has received a donation of 100 monodecks from its 2000-year group, marking their 25th anniversary since graduating. The gesture, aimed at easing infrastructure challenges in the school, was presented during a short ceremony on campus. JoyNews was there for the presentation, and there's more in the following report.
The president of the 25th Anniversary Committee of the 2000-year group of Tema Secondary School, Philip Kwao, explains that for the past 25 years of graduating from the school, the group thought it wise to donate the mono desk to the school, even though they have been doing a series of activities for the school. He says the infrastructure and equipment deficit in the school is enormous. Hence, as part of their 25th anniversary celebration, they are donating 100 mono desks to aid teaching and learning in the school. Philip Kwao spoke in an interview with JoyNews during the presentation of the items at the school.
We are here to give back. After 25 years of leaving Tema Secondary School, we know it's time to give back. So from the beginning of this year till now, we've been giving back in various ways to the school, talking about equipping the school kitchen. We've come back to do career forum to give guiding posts to our colleagues who are still in school, or these days some of them are qualified to be our own children who are in school. But today we are here because we are making a donation of 100 money to support sitting in the school. We all know with the bulge in numbers that we want to continue to help improve the equipment and infrastructure in the school. So today, the year group is making a donation of 100 mono decks to improve sitting for students, so that teaching and learning can continue in an enhanced environment. The gap is huge, and this is a start. So throughout our anniversary, and we want to say that we, the year 2000 group, believe that this is the beginning of a strong partnership with the school into the future.
The assistant headmistress for Tema Secondary School, Veronica Ankapong, appreciated the gesture, adding that the school will ensure the culture of maintenance will be applied to the furniture, so students who will attend the school in future will also benefit.
2000-year group for these nice gestures. Honestly, we look forward to see such donations, looking at the increment in student enrollment. The students numbers are overwhelming, and we look forward year after year to receive such benefits. We promise that we are not going to leave these donations unattended to. We are going to instill the culture of maintenance in the students.
Let's take you now to Germany. NATO has issued a warning to Russia after a series of airspace violations over Estonia, Poland and Romania. During urgent talks on Tuesday, the alliance accused Moscow of ramping up its campaign of incursions into NATO member states. For more on this, let's turn our attention now to our correspondent from DW, Chiponda Chimbule. Thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. I'd like to start with the latest, really. How is the alliance expected to respond?
Well, on Tuesday, U.S. President Donald Trump said NATO should shoot down Russian jets that enter the airspace of NATO member states. Now, that statement came on the same day that the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggested NATO countries only intercept Russian jets rather than shooting them down. Now, that, of course, suggests a bit of ambiguity coming from the White House. But also on Tuesday, we did hear from NATO itself, which did say it would use all the necessary military and non-military tools to defend itself as it faces a pattern of what it calls increasing irresponsible behavior by Moscow. Now, last Friday, Estonia said 3 Russian fighter jets violated its airspace for 12 minutes before being escorted out by NATO Italian fighter jets. The Kremlin has denied it entered Estonian airspace, but of course, that is something that is very difficult for people in Europe to believe, given that Russia now has a series of reports of airspace incursions across parts of Europe. NATO members Norway, Poland, Romania, and Croatia have all reported airspace violations by Russia this year alone.
for in the coming days.
We should be looking to Denmark as well. That's where there was another drone incident this week. Airports in Copenhagen and Oslo were closed for hours on Monday night. And that was after unidentified drones in the airspace led to the cancellation of dozens of flights. Now, the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, said that she could not rule out that Russia was behind that incident. So we do have to wait and see what more the Danish authorities can say about it. Now, in terms of NATO, the alliance has been ramping up its security. It launched a mission called Eastern Sentry this month, and that is an effort to better protect its Eastern European member states. Now, that mission is pretty much a response to Russia's violation of Polish airspace 2 weeks ago. Now, the mission integrates military capabilities that can better deal with drones, which have been, of course, widely used in Russia's airspace violations.
Thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. Now, away from that, in Ghana's chaotic rental market, agents are caught between landlords and desperate tenants, negotiating deals and taking the blame when the fall comes through. Now, even so, they are calling for rules and they are making housing fairer for all. There's more in the following report.
I am a tenant. I'm looking for a one-bedroom. Joanna from Shelter Match GH is my agent. She knows the city better than most. She works the phones, she walks the neighborhoods, she negotiates, pleads, and chases landlords so I can have a place to lay my head.
What's more interesting than waking up in the morning and moving around with people you don't know, a few you know, checking out their desired homes, their future homes, and helping people to get a place to lay their heads. I mean, it's an interesting job to do.
But who's an agent and why do they matter? In the eyes of the law, an agent is a trusted representative, someone who acts on behalf of another. Akapalm Anahlija in their commercial law book put it simply, the authorized or legitimate action of an agent bind a principle to third parties.
What really is your major challenge as an agent?
Wow, agents.
I mean, I ask this because if you take about 10 people in Ghana, 8 of them would say that they don't trust agents.
Budget is a concern. When I say budget, I mean how much are you willing to spend on a unit? How much are you, at most? Sometimes I don't have a budget, but send them a property worth an amount and there will be a concern. So I'll say budget range is also a concern because people have very higher expectations.
In Ghana's rental market, that clean legal definition is tested and often shattered every single day. Here, rent agents aren't just bridges between landlords and tenants. They are negotiators, fixers, and sometimes scapegoats.
Our fees, the fee we pay after the service is delivered, our service fee is also a concern. Commitment fee, I think I have to use the general term because in my company, we call it a commitment fee, but generally people call it the viewing fee.
What does that even mean? What am I committing to?
Oh, you're committing to our engagement, that's all. Yes.
Is there a standard rate or is just...
There's no standard rate. Every agent has their own amount.
Operating in a chaotic housing system with little regulation and even less protection. Blamed when landlords hike prices, accused when tenants lose money, forgotten when deals fall through.
Property owners, we've come by very, very good property owners. Some have even, over the years, become family because the moment they put up something new, they are calling you, I would like you to manage this, I would like you to take care of this, I would like you to let out this unit. So I would say that not all owners are the same, but there are some owners that have really put us through trouble. If we're able to get very affordable properties, it will solve so many issues. Now you have property owners pricing their properties so high, extremely high. Some are okay, but there are some that are extremely high. Some would want to get their return on investment within a short period of time. Mind you, this property you put up there, it took several years to come put it up. So it would also take you a few years to recoup your investments.
Well, that's how we wrap up the Pulse. It's been great doing the past 2 hours with you. My name is Faustina. So for more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Some of our great top stories there. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.